Hi! Healing from dysfunctional messages. It's probably something I'm going to touch off and on in lots of other videos because there are more narcissists in the world than there are enough of us to be gaslighting on us. Gaslighting is when a narcissist finds reason to put you down because it's the only way to make their ego feel better. There are usually people who haven't been nurtured well as youngsters for whatever reason. I'm not necessarily blaming their parents. There's all kinds of people who can do this to you, especially as a child. That weakens your ego. You know, there's bullies in school, there's bullies in churches and baseball fields and all kinds of sports. Sports especially, boy, even in Boy Scouts, you know, or Girl Scouts, you just never know where someone's going to turn up who, for whatever reason, has a very, very weak ego. And they feel like the only thing that will make it feel better is to walk all over somebody else. Especially somebody who they think has this very strong likelihood of developing a powerful ego. I mean, most of the people that I talk to who have been mistreated terribly by others have indeed, they're bright, they're capable, they're motivated, they have things they're passionate about, they may be introverted, or maybe thin or overweight or have red hair or something that somebody loves to pick on that they happen to be sensitive about. Maybe it's a temporary thing, like being pregnant, or maybe they got a bad tattoo. I mean, there's so many things. Maybe they got a bad haircut, okay? Or maybe they can't afford good shoes. There's any little thing that somebody else can pick on, they will. I was listening to a movie the other night that made me think of this. It was a movie about young girls in pageants and how really nasty they are to each other. And it seems so odd to me that I'm talking young girls, you know, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our daughter has always participated in pageants, and she's always talked about how much she loves it. But boy, I'll tell you, the young ones, there's just really, you can hear some real stories about girls putting each other down. And you don't want to believe it's true. You just don't want to believe it. However, back in 1971, I think, 1971, I was living in Chicago. And I was a gaslight girl. I was significantly taller than most of the girls. So my torso was very long. So when I came there to apply for a job as a waitress, they told me I had to wear something similar to what you would say back then, a highly exposed bathing suit. I mean, that's what it amounted to. And lots of makeup and so forth in order to do the job. It was all based on the 1920s, if you're not familiar with the Key Club or the Gaslight Club. It's not there anymore. It was in an older home that we all dressed in, and then we walked down to the club itself to do our jobs. But I really learned about that gaslighting. I couldn't imagine that there'd be such. I didn't have any siblings. I didn't have any boys or girls in my family. I was never around any of my cousins, or I never had any long-term friendships either because my family was military and we moved all the time. So I really didn't have the exposure to that kind of situation that I had in this restaurant situation. And wow, I was just stunned at, they would, if you had a pimple, I mean, anywhere that was showing, you got teased about it. If a motorcycle had rubbed a sore on your bottom or something, if a mosquito had bitten you, if your piece of your costume had ripped. I mean, anything at all. There would be, oh, well, I see you certainly had a full weekend, which means you gained weight. We had to weigh in every time we came to work. If we gained weight, we could be sent home. Or they would make some fun about, oh, you certainly saved money on your makeup this evening, meaning you bought something that was cheap and it looked crappy on you, or you just didn't know how to put makeup on. I mean, there were so many comments like that, and I was really shocked because like I said, I never had that experience as a youngster, so that was really surprising to me. But what I've discovered over the years is that not only from my own relationships with either men or women, but so many women mostly women, have been married to someone not realizing what they were getting into. I certainly did. I mean, my first husband married me to get out of the draft. He wanted to have a child so he'd get out of the draft. And as soon as my daughter was born, within 3 or 4 months, he was gone. And never heard from him again. Never saw him again until the day the divorce went through. That was it. Couldn't believe it. I was madly in love with this mother. She was a sweetheart. Oh gosh, she was a wonderful woman. And that's what happened. I was madly in love with her. My mother didn't like me at all, and so I was anxious to be in a loving home with loving people. But I didn't realize that she'd raised a son who would be so sneaky. I mean, marry somebody to get out of the draft? Yeah, he wanted me to have a child so that he could get out of the draft. Strange the things people do to each other, and yet they do. Now, the good news is that you can heal from this. If you go on, there are videos all over YouTube about the incredible comments that narcissists will make, the incredible links they'll go to cause you pain. I know my husband and I had a situation like that in a real estate deal, and it was horrid for years and years. We were just bombarded with all kinds of legal lies and lots of bills to pay to lawyers and so forth, and for nothing. I mean, there was nothing ever resolved. We were not ever found to have done anything wrong. It was just noise. And that's what narcissists do. The messages they send are noise. And they're not the only ones. I mean, there's lots of different personality traits that will send negative messages, but it's so hard. And I mean, in schools we call them bullies, and usually it's the same kind of situation. You can see that situation. You see somebody who feels like the only way that they can be important is to stand on your shoulders or to rock on your belly, just stand there with their feet rocking back and forth on your belly until you give up. I mean, it's just so incredibly hard to accept that you could be made to feel so badly for someone just because that makes them feel better. Strange, huh? Anyway, you can heal. You can heal. And it really takes a lot of work, because once you have swallowed those messages, I mean, really taken them in, chewed them up, swallowed them, boy, it defines who you are. And you have to really work at it to get past that and to recognize that you're not that person. You're not weak, you're not shallow, you're not ugly, you don't have pimples in wrong places and mosquito bites or motorcycle rubs in the wrong places or the wrong shoes or whatever it is. And you get to be you. And that's when you finally know you've healed. When you can finally look in the mirror and say, I love you, and mean it. You really love what you're looking at and care about yourself and have empathy for yourself and feel kindness towards yourself. That's when you know you finally made it. But that takes a long time. Normally. Not everybody's, I mean, let's take an example here. You've been just hammered to death by somebody in a swimming class. And come to find out your uncle or aunt was an Olympic swimmer and was willing to help you through the situation because they overheard you talking to your mother about how embarrassed you felt because they would be insulting the way you moved your arms or your legs or something that you did in the pond that they thought was just horrific, and they were going on and on about it at the lake or swimming pool or wherever you are. And so this relative, this aunt or uncle, volunteers to help you learn how to swim. And they are terrific, not just as a swimmer, but as a teacher. I mean, they just pump you up. They go back and forth. They've got so many incredible lessons that they've learned over the years about overcoming insults and embarrassing situations and things that they've tried to, or somebody else has tried on them to cause them harm, and they just go on and on and on with all this different levels of praise and understanding and training, and pretty soon you are just hot. I mean, you are really hot. And so the time comes when the bully is in front of you, and it's time for them to do the butterfly or some other stroke that's difficult. To take strength and endurance and style and elegance and real understanding of how that particular stroke is done. And so off goes the person who's your bully. And they're okay. They do okay. And then it's time for you. And you stand up real straight, and there you see them at the other end of the swimming line with a smirk on their face. And it doesn't stay there, you're told by your other friends, because you hit that water, and boy, an absolute perfect stroke. Their butterfly was unbelievable. Your strength was up. It'd been a while since you had to compete behind them, and so they had no idea what was going on. I mean, you were hot that day. You were really on top of it, and you really, your relative is just stand there grinning from ear to ear. But not so the bully. The bully has walked away into the dressing room. Even though they've got more swimming to do, they've walked away into the dressing room because you have just popped their bubble. They were just ready to tear you apart at the other end when you got there, and you weren't there. That's not going to be the only time that you will feel like you've got it made. There'll be more. There'll be more times when you feel like, wow, I've done it. I've conquered this. I've reached out over what they were throwing at me, and I just put my hand up and bounced off and went right back. But that's what others can do for you. That's what you can do for you, because it was you who did all that swimming. It was your aunt or uncle who was teaching, but you were doing the swimming, and you were listening. You were listening to someone you trusted, someone who was telling you the truth about who you are and what you can do. And that's the trick. You've got to find a teacher or a mentor or a therapist or whoever it takes to do that. And you've got to do it yourself, too. You've got to go look in the mirror and say, I love you, you're a great swimmer, I'm a great horseback rider, I'm great at how I sew my clothes, whatever it is. You've got to do that. You've got to stand right there in front of that mirror and say that. And believe it. You got to believe it. That's why it's so important that the person who's helping you is someone you know and someone you honestly believe, and someone you admire, someone you respect, someone you know is being honest with you. And it's going to make all the difference in the world. Now, it'll also help if that person goes around and tells your mom, your dad, your second cousin once removed, your closest friends, everybody they can think of about how you've struggled. Because you may have kept a lot of it to yourself. Most of us do, especially when we're embarrassed and somebody is overpowering us. We feel like we have to keep it to ourselves. But if that relative goes and tells all of them how much you've struggled, and what an incredible gift it would be to you for them to say something sincerely, to see you swim, or to see you doing something, or to say, boy, you sure have gotten a lot of self-confidence lately. That's terrific. Any comment like that. And they got to be different. They can't all be the same. We can't be believing that we heard a recording. What a difference that will make. And then, probably, you'll find other things, other challenges that you want to take. Maybe you've never built a shed before, and you go build a shed. Maybe you've never designed a house plan, a floor plan. Maybe you've never raised a puppy from scratch. Maybe you've never built a birdhouse and put it up in the yard. Whatever it happens to be. Maybe you've never sung at a choir in the church. Whatever it happens to be that you do. Maybe it's making a video for YouTube like I'm doing. Whatever it is, do it. Don't be afraid. Do it. If you're afraid to do it, find somebody to help you. Find somebody who understands starting new on a new project and what that means. But do it. Just do it. And then when you're successful, you're ready for the next bully. Because you know who you are. You know what you can do. I hope I've helped you a little bit. I hope I've given you a few ideas. If you have any questions, down in the comments, you can always leave me a question. I'm happy to answer anything. If I don't have an answer, I'll find a research and give you one because I love to research. And while you're down there, if you'd look at our website from the nonprofit I've managed for the last 34 years, we'd love to let you know about it. If you know anybody who's interested in art, especially art reminding about caring for the earth, please pass it on. Appreciate it so much. And I hope that you'll come back. I've made a lot of videos. Thank you.